Okay, I'm going to walk you through how to make Matzoh Brei, my favorite thing for Passover. First thing, I've got a skillet on the stove that's warmed up a little bit. So I'm just going to set this over here. And yeah, so some basic ingredients. While the skillet is warming up, I just kind of take 2 eggs. A little bit of cinnamon. Some people like to put in sugar with this, but I like to just do plain cinnamon. And then I'm just going to whisk it. And then add a little milk. While that's going here, I'm just gonna put a little bit of butter onto the skillet. Warm that up. You want it to brown in the skillet. Gives it a good flavor, but also helps to make sure. And I use a non-stick skillet, so a regular metal skillet. And you want a good amount of butter in there because as it browns, it's going to reduce just a little bit. So while that's browning, just take some matzah. And I always use the recipe of 2 eggs, 2 squares of matzah. I break the matzah into quarters. And then I use hot water straight from the tap. And I just run it over until it covers the matzah. And then I hold it down for 18 seconds. And I pour off the water. And so the matzah still, it's softer, but it still kind of keeps its shape somewhat so it's not soggy. And then I just mix in the egg mix. Get it all mixed in there. So it's going to have this sort of consistency here, right? So still got the chunks of matzah in there. And then I just take it over to the stove and I pour it into the pan. And I just kind of make sure it all kind of settles down to the bottom there. Kind of get it nicely spread out. Alright, so this is what it looks like while it's in the pan. So it's just nicely spread out. And then I like to let it brown for a little bit on both sides. It should be pretty solid, and it takes a little while to do that. You can start to see on the edges when it starts to get brown. It doesn't take a lot of time to do that. But while that's setting up, I just kind of want to show you the things that I like to put on my matzo brei. Some people just like to put sugar and cinnamon on it. I use cream cheese. So I spread that on while it's warm so that it kind of melts the cream cheese a little bit. And then I top it with whatever kind of jams or preserves you want. I use the apricot preserve here. So there are lots of different things that can work, but just something to kind of give it that sweetness, but I also like the creaminess of the cream cheese on there as well. All right. So it's starting to set up, and so you can see it's not quite solid yet, and you want it to be one solid piece. Some people, when they're doing it, they keep them in the quarters, and then they just drop in kind of the slices of matzah in there, almost like French toast. And you can certainly do that as well. I personally like it kind of more in the sort of pancake, the large pancake, like consistency of it, just because it's a little creamier, it's a little softer. But if you like it in the squares, same thing. You want to just kind of keep it in those quarters, soak it in the egg milk. I would probably soak it in the egg milk mixture a little bit longer. And yeah, basically that's what you do. And then as soon as this sets up here, okay, so you can start to see that it's starting to get a little more firm, where it's not sliding around as different parts of it, but it's all sliding together. And when it comes to making it, you want to cook it on both sides. You want it to have a nice brownness, crispiness on both sides. You can already kind of see that it's starting to underneath get a little brown, a little crispy. You can use a spatula to flip it over. I personally like to take the fry pan that I've got here that's got nice rounded sides, so I don't like a square bottomed pan. And that allows me the curvature of the pan allows me to kind of flip it a little bit better. So we're just going to let it brown just a slight little bit more because it needs just a little bit more time. And like I said, I warm up the skillet a little while just because it takes some time. I've got an electric range. I would prefer a gas range, but I've got an electric range, so it takes a little more time to warm up. And I just set it at a medium-low temperature. That gives it enough heat, but it allows it to cook throughout and still get that nice brownness. Okay, so then, this always takes a little act of faith here. So again, you want it to make sure that it's got enough butter that it's going to be able to slide around, not too much that it's going to get sloppy. And then basically what you're going to do then is you're going to flip the matzoh brei. And so it just takes a little bit of confidence and just a quick circular motion. And there we go. And so then that's what you want it to look like on the top side now, what used to be our bottom side. And you're going to keep cooking it until it looks like that on the bottom side. And then, like I said, give it a good smear of cream cheese, top it with some preserves, and that's all there is to it. And so then I just slide that out onto a plate, and you're good to go. All right, Chag Sameach.